Hey there, guys. Getting started today on something new in the lounge. This. A few minutes, a couple times a week, discussing some of the biggest topics of the week and keeping you up to date with whom will be in the lounge, where we will be. And of course, that means next Thursday, letting you know that we're going to be back at Parkway Tavern. We were there last Wednesday, and it was a blast. If you're not sure where Parkway Tavern is, it's in Plano. It's right off the tollway, right behind Whiskey Cake and 60 Vines. It's a great spot. We're looking forward to being back there again next Thursday for some drinks and some fun conversations coming up next week. And if you subscribe on the site, these bi-weekly updates will get sent right to your inbox. Now, trust me, having unread number icons above my mailbox provides a certain level of anxiety myself. I'm not trying to add to that, especially this type of year where it's out of control. So, trust me, we're talking 2 and only 2 here, and that'll be per week, and I'll send these right to you. This project has been so much fun to produce so far. So if you've missed any of the episodes, like my visit with Hall of Famer Tim Brown, or my college roommates, and those hilarious stories that we told, you can find the links to every platform right here on the site, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or Stitcher. Click on the icons. Subscribe today. Coming up this week, I'm going to have Fox 4 at a DFW. Mike Ducey will be in here, my good friend, golfing buddy, former colleague, Steve Dennis, and that will be available on Monday. I can promise it's going to be a live one. Now, following Sunday's 35-20 spanking of the Bengals in Cincinnati, Browns rookie quarterback Baker Mayfield had only a few choice words to say on the field to his former head coach, Hue Jackson, who was recently fired from Cleveland and chose to go back to Cincinnati to coach for the 3rd time in his career. That followed with a short dialogue in this from Baker Mayfield.
If Cleveland goes down to Cincinnati, I don't know. It's just somebody that was in our locker room asking for us to play for him and then goes to a different team. We play twice a year. Everybody can have their spin on it, but that's how I feel. No, I mean, it's just like any rivalry game. That's just how it is now. That's how I'm going to treat it every time we play them, but it's nothing. You know, there's no hate. That's just how it is. That's how I'm going to treat it, and I think that's how our team should treat it too.
I have 2 things to say about this. Baker is 100% wrong, and I 100% love it. Hue Jackson was fired after taking a 3-year beating in Cleveland, and I'm not even talking about living there, which is a beating all on its own. And after he got the boot, he got a couple of phone calls, one from ESPN and one from Fox, to empty the tank on his time in Cleveland, and that was probably it. So he goes to Cincinnati. That's where he goes every time he gets fired. He's now there for the 3rd time. It's like calling your buddy that owns a bar to see if you could pick up some bartending shifts. Dude, I got caught playing Fortnite again at my desk, and do you need any help on Sundays? Baker, I remember you getting dumped by Texas Tech and agreeing to bar back at Oklahoma until you got your shot behind the bar. So don't give me any of this shit. Don't tell Damian Woody it's different because you were going to lose your Scully. You lost something. Hugh lost something. Neither of you were or are wrong by doing what you did by moving to Oklahoma or Cincinnati. And you know what? I love it. I love it. For people of a certain age, they remember when the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns were one of the best rivalries in pro football. The Cleveland Browns were named after their first coach, Paul Brown, the legend. Won them 3 NFL championships, but was eventually fired in 1963. So what'd he do? Well, he goes 250 miles south in the same state to start a new pro football franchise in the new rival American Football League called the Cincinnati Bengals. And from there, the hate these 2 cities harbor for each other is as strong as the futility each of their teams have shown in recent history on the field. But for a decade, a few removed, no less, it was an incredible rivalry. In the 1980s, the AFC Central was a banger. The Bengals went to a couple of Super Bowls, the Browns won 5 divisional titles, and you remember losing 2 AFC title games in torturous fashion to John Elway and the Denver Broncos. And the 2 times each year the Browns and the Bengals faced each other was not enough to even show the hatred between these 2 franchises. This is great. In 1989, there's a game against Seattle, of all teams. Bengals fans at Riverfront Stadium, unlike your boy here, started to become assholes and because of a questionable call, started throwing wet snowballs and beer bottles out onto the field because that's what classy people do. And that was until
Bengals head coach Sam Weiss did this.
Person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, and get them out of here. You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati.
It's maybe the greatest thing I have ever heard at a sporting event. And if it takes Baker Mayfield's ridiculous disgust at Hue Jackson to get the ball rolling back into that direction once again, I'm all for it. Now go fire all of your coaches and go win some games. All right, again, coming up this week, Steve Dennis of ESPN Radio 103.3 FM, my good friend, former CBS reporter, as well as Fox 4's Mike Ducey, the godfather of sports on TV.